What a week in college football it was. I was at the Swamp and watched the Gators go down to USF. It was a very disappointing night. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, and we're going to kick off this week's recap and prospect up and down, pop and drop. This was a surprising turnout to me. I'm definitely disappointed. I was going to record it last night, but I decided to sleep on it before I did. And, I'm glad I did because perspective is everything. Last night, I was ready to pay Billy Napier's buyout and get him out of here and completely toss the team and just say, you know what, we'll see what happens, take a chance. And then it hit me. It doesn't make a ton of sense to do it this early in the season. We got to at least get through 4 or 5 games before you even consider doing it, or else a ton of players will sit out in redshirt. So I think we got to be patient. We got to give him time to see if maybe this was them looking ahead to LSU. I mean, that's all any Gator fan can hope for right now. Myself included, I am a fan of the team, so that's all we can hope for is that the team was looking ahead to LSU and that's why they didn't take USF serious. It's still not a good sign, and it's still not an excuse, but that can happen. So I certainly hope that's the case, and I think we take some time and we let them go through these next 4 games that are not going to be easy. And we got Mississippi State, who got a huge upset win last night that we'll talk about as well. And then after that, we have a bye week before Georgia. And if it looks like it's time to make a change, I think that's when you do it. You won't have players who sit out to preserve eligibility more likely than not. You won't have, a lot of the things like that. And we'll give them a fair shot this year because a bad game can happen. And nobody's going to like that answer. I'm a fan of the team. But after sleeping on it, I think it just makes sense to give them time and see what really ends up happening. Apologize if you just heard my dog in the background. But yeah, that's really all I got to say as far as the Billy Napier buyout goes. It might be time, but I also think it's time to wait and see. Let's not rush the decision. If it has to be made, it has to be made. But I think we pull the plug in season after the Mississippi State game. Now, as far as prospects that really popped in this game, you got to give Brown, the quarterback for USF, Bynum Brown, a lot of credit. He played well. Uh, I don't know as far as his NFL prospects exactly how high they are. I will say DJ Lagway, even though he's not in this class, is in the next class. He's definitely a drop right now. Having watched him live, he has all the arm talent in the world. That's not a question. There was drops that definitely hurt him as well. I'm not going to lie about that. But ball placement wasn't great. He was, the interception to J. Michael Sturdivant down the field was just a bad throw on DJ Lagway. He led him too far, and that's why it was picked off. If he'd have hit him, it's a touchdown. He had it. But then you look at it, and there's multiple throws like that where he was just off. The throw to Sturdivant as well, to begin the final drive of the game for the Gators when they were trying to close them out. That was another one. It just wasn't a great throw by DJ Lagway. And his accuracy's okay, but his ball placement definitely looks like it needs a lot of work. He's still knocking off Russ, though. And you know what? You got to accept that that can happen. I mean, the kid was out most of the offseason trying to get himself healthy and ready to go for this year. As much as everybody acts like it's not a thing, we've seen it with Joe Burrow. It took him time to get stuff knocked off in the NFL after all his preseason injuries the last few years. So you have to be patient. You have to understand that this can happen. And unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it, but let him knock the rust off. And then I think he'll get back to being the DJ we seen at the end of last season. I'm not giving up on him. He's a fantastic player as far as his arm talent goes. He showed us last year when it's all coming together just how good he can be. And I'm really high on him. I think Jaden Baugh, though, maybe not the best stat line coming out of this game, but he averaged over 5 yards a carry. He popped, man. I always thought he was an NFL running back already, but watching him live and really getting to see he runs with such physicality. He has good vision, and the kid right now could play in the NFL, in my opinion. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind about that. Another guy that really popped, I mean, you got to talk about Vernell Brown III. The kid's just a true freshman, so he's a long ways away from getting in the NFL draft, but he's electric. The punt return, get the ball in his hands. He dropped that one deep ball down the sideline on third down once again at the end of the game. It just went through his hands, but I'm not going to hold that against him, man. It happens. He's a young kid. It wasn't our night. We didn't deserve to win the game even if we held on to win the game. So it is what it is. I'm not going to hold it against him. He is electric. He's somebody to look forward to in a few years and see if he can continue to develop here. Eugene Wilson III, I thought looked really good in this game. I wish they would give him more than just underneath routes, though. I don't know if that's just, or I do know that that's just a staple of Billy's offense. And to me, they need to get him going a little bit more vertical at times, get him deeper down the field because he will win and get open. And I just think far too often they're running him on short drags, short little crossers, and we got to get him down the field some. We got to open this offense up and we got to hit them big plays. We don't have the guys we had last year on the outside. And, you know, you got to use your best players to create separation, get space, and get the plays that we need. And that's Brown and Wilson right now, in my opinion, in the receiving core. As far as South Florida goes, there wasn't really anybody in their receiving core that completely popped. That big long touchdown by Singleton was really nice. I mean, he caught it, two defenders there, and he was gone. Really bad angle by the safety. I do believe it was Thornton. I would have to watch film. I haven't gotten to watch that yet. But I think it was Thornton, if I remember right, that missed the tackle on him. But they didn't really pop. They weren't getting a ton of separation. I think our DBs did a good job. They were mugging them up most of the night. Looking at our defense, Tyreek Sapp had a sack. That was a nice play, but still wasn't a quick pressure. It was a long developing pressure. I think Jaden Robinson actually looked really good for us. Miles Graham, he's not in the draft this year, but this kid is really good, man. I can't wait to see him as a prospect. I think he's going to be awesome. Jordan Castell looked good. Trying to think who else really popped off. Devin Moore's coverage looked really good. He was tight all over his man. Trying to think. That's probably it that I really want to talk about popping without watching the film. And as far as South Florida goes, number 24, I don't. His name's Mac Harris. As I look here, he had a sack, and it was a nice play on his behalf. He looked good. Um, that's really it, though. Not a ton of guys that popped out that I'm thinking they're going to be high end NFL guys, but they didn't look bad. I mean, our if we're going to talk about prospects dropping though in this game, I do have to unfortunately lead it off with our left tackle Austin Barber is another guy, or finish it off. I mean, with Austin Barber, our left tackle. He didn't look great in this game. I'm excited to watch the all 22 and see because naturally when you're watching the game live, I'm undisciplined. I couldn't just focus on him, and that's where I'm just not an NFL scout. I want to enjoy the game as well. But I definitely watched him on a lot of reps, and there was times where he struggled in this game, and I don't think he did a great job getting movement up front. And even Slaughter, which I didn't pay as close attention to him in this game, and I wish I would have. It didn't look like he was getting the movement I expected, and I don't. I think USF's a good team, and I think that we're learning that early in the season. I think they're a top 25 team, and they very well might represent the group of five when it comes to the college football playoff this year. They're that type of talented. Alex Golish, their head coach, is incredible. I expected more movement from our guys up front. So to me, our offensive line definitely dropped in this game. They just weren't getting the movement, in my opinion, in the running game, and they weren't protecting particularly well. Some of that's on DJ, though. He didn't have great pocket movement, didn't have great poise in the pocket at times. It looked like he panicked a little bit, but this is a disappointing result. And I do think we likely end up having to move on from Billy Napier at some point this year, but I just don't think we do it yet. I think we maybe wait, and I think we try to see, can he turn it around? Is this the NIU moment for the Gators program? I don't think so because we have a horrendously tough schedule, and I don't have the belief in Billy Napier that I have in Marcus Freeman. So I don't think it is, but that's all we can hope for as Gator fans. And disappointing result. We didn't deserve to win the game, even if we would have held on. We didn't deserve to win this one. USF and Alex Golish, they deserve all the credit in the world. I don't really have anything to say on Ohio State Grambling. It was an absolute blowout, and you're not really going to learn anything. Julian Sayin was excellent, which is good. Bo Jackson was good out of the backfield for him. I just didn't learn much. Jeremiah Smith bounced back. He had 2 touchdowns. But you're not going to learn much from a game like this, in my opinion. They played exactly how you'd expect them to play. Drew Aller, a little more inconsistent than I hoped against FIU in their 34-0 victory. The Penn State quarterback, of course. But he wasn't as efficient as I wanted. I think I need to watch that film. But right now, I'm not really happy with how he performed. But that's basically box score watching and not actually watching the film, though. I've seen some highlights of the game and stuff, but I got to sit down and watch that one. I do think Katron Allen looked good in that game. He deserves a ton of credit. LSU actually struggled with La Tech. They won 23-7. I think that there's a chance both them and the Gators were looking ahead to taking on each other. LSU, though, being the better team and better coach team, even though I'm not a big Brian Kelly guy, you know, They did what they're supposed to do, and they held on and won a low-scoring, ugly game. The Gators blew it. Nussmeier, his stats look good, but I can't really speak on this game too much. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you learned that much. I think they were likely looking ahead to the Gators. Georgia beat Austin P. Honestly, nothing really to learn. It was a 28-6 ball game. They had a weather delay in this one. Yeah, nothing to learn there. And that's kind of how this week's video is going to go. I think Carson Beck, though, you might have to consider him as a pop right now. He played Bethune-Cookman, but that's 2 weeks in a row that he looked really good in his comeback, from Georgia and the elbow injury. So I got to give Carson Beck a pop in the Miami victory over Bethune-Cookman. It was 45-3, and it wasn't a great, team to take on, but it's really nice to see him pop back to what he was 2 years ago and give him a chance, man. Because I think he's probably not going to be the top quarterback in this class. I don't know that he'll ever get back to that discussion, but I do think he can still be possibly a late round one guy at best, more likely than not a day two guy. And that's where I have him as a day two guy. But and I do have him as a late day two guy, but I think he could get himself higher than expected right now because he's looking good in his comeback. A game that definitely I expected Oregon to win, but not 69-3 over Oklahoma State. They looked fantastic in this game. Oklahoma State looked completely outmatched. They looked like they didn't belong on the field at all with Oregon. And honestly, I said in our previews for the Big 12, I was very low on Oklahoma State. I said, I think it's time to move on from head coach Mike Gundy. I think this program needs a complete reset. And the fact of the matter is, it showed up today. It's time for them to move on and go in a new direction. He's a legend there, and they deserve a whole ton, or he deserves a whole ton of credit for what he's done there. But the time's up. It's over. It's time to move on. That's it, and that's all. Oregon absolutely dominated them, and they deserve all the credit in the world. Texas blew out San Jose State 38-7. Arch Manning looked good in his comeback in this game, and CJ Baxter looked pretty good, but he's still looking like he's lacking a little bit of that explosion that he had before. I do know he's still, coming back from that injury, so we got to see. But Texas looked good. They got the bounce back we all expected. Clemson Troy. This one was actually an interesting game. And I was watching some of it on my phone during commercial timeouts and, on field timeouts at the Gator game. Cade Klubnik continued to struggle, it looked like, in this game. And it's one of the main reasons why I'm just not that high on him. His completion percentage and all that looked good, but I think when it mattered most, he's still a very up and down quarterback. And at the end of the day, it's why I'm not as high on him, so I'm going to give him a drop in this game. I think Bryant Wesco, I'm really excited for him next year. I think he's going to be a good receiving prospect, but I think Wade Woodez was all over the field from what I seen. He was making tackles left and right. I remember hearing his name called. I think I seen a sack. I did see a sack. Here it is for TJ Parker, but I can't really speak a whole lot on this game. Like I said, I have to watch film, but from what I seen, man, I'm just Klubnik. There's a lot of concerns there. His completion percentage was fine. He only threw for 196 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a pick. I don't know, man. Not that high on him, and he didn't have a great day, in my opinion. Lenora Sellers, man, he struggled. South Carolina State, they got the victory. He's got a lot of work to do, and I do believe right now in this moment he might be better served coming back for another year in college. We'll have to see. South Carolina found a way to win. They had they won Beamer ball in this game. I was watching some of this one on my way home, and of course, I was watching the Mississippi State game we're going to talk about. But Lenore Sellers, man, I think he's still up and down, and he still has a long way to go to be the type of prospect that he has the potential to be. Still really like him, but very up and down. I think next game we're going to talk about is Duke and Illinois. I didn't get to finish watching this game, but I really think Darian Mensah could be a good quarterback. He's very interesting to me. Beatty at receiver for Illinois was popping off before I left to go to the Gator game. This game here, Illinois blew them out in the end, but it should have been much closer. Duke might even deserve to win this game. They were just handing them the ball left and right in the first half. They were clearly the better team, and they couldn't do anything. They made mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, and at the end of the day, they deserved to lose because of that. But in a lot of ways, they surprised me. I expected them to be decent here with Manny Diaz, and I have Illinois as a 9-3 team, I think, in the Big Ten this year. But Watching it, I was like, man, maybe I'm wrong about Illinois. Duke kind of deserves this ball game. But at the end of the day, Luke Altmaier came through, and I think that this kid could be somebody to keep an eye on. I know he doesn't have like ideal measurables and everything, but he made some throws in this game that definitely caught my eye. And I was like, man, he's a pop right now for me. He's somebody that he's surprising me. I didn't put a ton of stock in him. I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch his tape over summer. I didn't, I just thought he was going to be a throwaway Big Ten quarterback that, day three undrafted type guy, late day three undrafted type guy. And I just didn't have time to get to his tape. I wanted to start watching the top 50 guys. I watched a lot of quarterbacks that are not going to go in the first round, but when I started falling behind and I was behind, I was like, all right, let's get the top guys of this draft class watched and start putting summer grades on them. And I never got back to Altmaier's tape, but watching that game today, at least the TV copy, he was impressive. I'm not even going to lie to you. He impressed me. He had a couple big boy throws in this game, so he's certainly a pop. I think Hank Beatty's a pop in this game for Illinois. He was just routing people up left and right all over the field, getting open. He was incredible, and it looked like his route running, which stereotype here, but what you expect to happen there is quite nice. And I'm excited to watch the all 22 of this game. Looking at Duke, they didn't really impress me a whole ton on the ground. I think Darian Mensah had a good game. Did throw a pick, and he at times is a little inaccurate, but I think he's a sophomore redshirt, so he still has 2 more years of college eligibility. He's somebody that I would keep an eye on maybe for next year or the year after if he continues to grow. He's definitely an interesting prospect. Looking at their receiving core, Cooper Barkate looked fine. 4 for 88 was pretty good. And, you heard his name called quite a bit. Nick Weaver on defense was all over the field for him. I do know that. And then Vincent Anthony Jr. Listen, I told you in my preview he was a guy to watch out for. He's a menace, man. He could be really good. Still inconsistent, it looked like, but that once I see the all 22, I'll be able to feel more comfortable. But just off of watching it, he was a pop, 2.5 sacks in this game when you look at his stats. He was incredible, man. He was all over the field, and he's somebody that definitely is a Sunday player. Looking at Illinois, Miles Scott was really good in this game, and I think Xavier Scott had a couple good plays and coverage that I watched. I'm excited to watch his film because I'll admit, watching the TV version, it's hard to watch corners, but it looked like he was pretty sticky in coverage. They didn't really go his way, so I think he deserves a ton of credit. I was hoping to see more from Gabe Akis, but he didn't really pop off in this one. So that's really it from this game. As far as pop and drop go, I'm excited. I have a hard time with these. I like to watch film before I really say pop or drop, but at the same time, these are instant reactions. So normally I'm going to do them Saturday night after the games, record it, and just tell you how I'm feeling that night, and we're going to talk about it. But yeah, this week, a little different here as we're behind. Or I was at the Gator game, I should say. So I was pretty worn out last night and decided to give my voice a rest and go to sleep. Mississippi State, Arizona State. I'm going to lead it right off. Levitt, he's a drop. 2 interceptions. His accuracy was all over the place. His decision making did not look good in this game. I think that he's a work in progress, and I don't think he'll be in this draft. I'm pretty sure he's only a junior if I'm remembering right off the top of my head. He has another year eligibility, or two actually. He might have 2 years of eligibility left. Either way, he's not ready to be in the draft class. It did not look like he could handle it in this game. He was a drop for me. Blake Shapen popped in this game a little bit. Still don't think he's much of an NFL quarterback, but he had an impressive game out there. I think Fluff Bothwell ran really hard for Mississippi State. Riley Brown's an NFL back. He's a pop. I really liked him. Jordan Tyson looked good. I mean, he didn't have an explosive play, but he was consistent. He was routing people up, getting open. He was like the only receiver able to make plays for Arizona State all night. Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, that kid's a pop. He is a big play threat, and he looks like he could be a deep threat in the NFL. TV copy, that kid popped. Anthony Evans popped as well for him. He was quite impressive. Defensively, trying to think. Guys that I know popped, just looking at stats here. Clayton Smith had 2 sacks. They had a sack from Keyshawn Elliott on Arizona State's defense. I think that was it for their sacks. It was. I think Keyshawn Elliott did pop when I was watching it because I didn't get to pay a ton of attention to this game. at the beginning because I was still watching the Gators blow their game. But Xavier Alford popped at times. He made some big plays. I was hoping more from CJ Fit or Fight, however you pronounce it. I don't know. He was somebody when I watched in summer, I was like, oh, he's kind of interesting. He didn't have a great game, or that I thought could break out, I should say, when I watched in summer. Looking at Mississippi State's defense, man, I didn't expect much from these guys, but their D line was incredibly tough. They deserve a ton of credit. They they actually looked to control the line of scrimmage with complete ease, which is not something I expected from this team. I was really low on Mississippi State coming into the year. I had 3 victories for them, and it's safe to say I was probably wrong about that. And I'm happy about it. I have a buddy. The whole reason I was able to go to the Gator game is a buddy of mine who's a Mississippi State alum, and I was happy for him, man. We were texting, and it was a big win for the Mississippi program, man. And he was excited. He was hype. Like I said, he's the whole reason I even got to go to the Gator game. So I kind of cruel twist of fate. He wasn't able to go to the Gator game with us. Some things came up, but he was able to see his team pull off a big upset, and he missed my team getting, you know, embarrassed in the swamp. So it was a big night for him. But Mississippi State, man, they look good. Their defense was tough. I really, that's the honest best assessment I can say is that D line popped for me, and I'm excited to see how it holds up in the SEC. I think Arizona State's probably a little overrated this year. I think they're living off of last year's hype, and they're just not the same team they were last year. They lost, of course, their best player, Cam Scadaboo, and that's going to hurt them. And I think even though Riley Brown's been impressive for them, they're just struggling. So this is a fun game to watch. It was the one I ended up watching, and I'll be honest, it's not the game I was expecting to watch, but it was an upset brewing, and I flipped it on, and we got home late from the Gator game. I didn't have time to have 2 screens on, really. I watched a little bit of Oklahoma and Michigan. Oklahoma won this one 24-13. I think John Mateer played pretty well. He did have a pick in this game. I'm excited to watch his film. Stats look good, and from what I watched, he looked comfortable. Bryce Underwood, he was disappointing in this game. He kind of looked like a true freshman, but I still think the future is bright for him. Justice Haynes popped for Michigan running the ball. When I was watching highlights, he just was making big run after big run. And I'm excited to see how he looked over the course of the whole game in the All 22. But he definitely popped off when I was watching the highlights of this game. Tierman on the ground was impressive too. I kind of forgot about that. He added 2 touchdowns on the ground. He popped in this. But I think passing wise, he looked good, but little up and down from the highlights. I got to watch all 22. Trying not to be too low on Mateer, but I do think that he's he's a little wild right now, and I'm hesitant to be high on him with how wild he is, but he has the potential to do exactly what Cam Ward just did last year, where his wild comes together just right. It's not this year, maybe it's next year, and he's able to make himself an elite prospect because he makes plays that are just impressive with both his arms and his feet. And I think he could be something. It's just he's wild, and I'm very hesitant on trusting Wild as far as a draft prospect goes. Jaden Ott, only 4 carries in this game, but he doesn't look to have any explosion at all. And that's not good. He's somebody that I used to really like, and I thought he was going to break out this year. I know they're working him in slowly, it appears, but he looks like the third back, and he does not look to have any explosion left in his body. Deion Burks popped from the receiving core from Oklahoma State. He had a big day. He had a touchdown in the highlights I watched. He had another pretty big play in the highlights I watched as well. Nobody else really super popped there in the game, in my opinion. Defensively, honestly, not Oklahoma State. Oklahoma seemed to kind of control this game a little bit up front, and they had good sticky coverage. They were dominant up front, though. Their run game, like they allowed lanes in the run game, but when it came to passing, they were able to control, get pressure on Bryce Underwood from what I've seen. I don't know. I gotta watch the film, like I said, because I only watched highlights. Being fully honest, I'm never gonna lie to y'all. I've watched highlights as I'm doing this instant reaction. Have not watched all 22. I do watch all 22 though for every game that I can because I grade prospects. If you're new here and you're still sticking around, consider hitting that subscribe button. You'll get to see the NFL draft if you like that. I'm a big NFL draft fan, big draft nerd. I put a ton of work into it. I graded out over 300 prospects last year, and I had final grades on like 170 guys last year. And We were new parents last year, and my daughter had a lot going on, and I'm learning that as we go. This year, gonna be even more stressful. I still, am a parent, but I'm also gonna be going back to college, so it's gonna be a lot of work to get it done. But we're gonna keep grading prospects, watching all 22, talking about football games, giving opinions. And I'm not an insider by any means, but I do watch a lot of football, and I do trust my gut, and I think I have pretty reasonable expectations for teams, and I put a lot of work in behind the scenes. So that's really it, man. I'm trying to grow the channel here, build a community. I love talking to y'all. If you got any comments, leave them down below. Any questions, anything you want to know, leave a question down below. I'll gladly answer it for you. But yeah, like I said, this game, highlight wise, defense did not look impressive really for Michigan, but I got to watch the all 22 before I can give a final verdict on that. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that it's something it's not, and I know more than I do know. Iowa State, Iowa, 16-13. That game went about how you'd expect. Iowa State finally won at home, first time in a really long time. They had a good day. They deserve that victory. Baylor SMU was a very interesting game that I did not get to see the ending of. Baylor deserves a ton of credit. I think they're genuinely improved, and Sawyer Robertson is a pop for me. I do think SMU has a ways to go. Their defense, it's not that impressive. Quarterback Kevin Jennings, he's electric. I don't know really about NFL draft prospects, but it wasn't his fault they lost this game. At the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that their defense couldn't get a stop when they needed it. So it was an overtime game, high scoring game, very fun to watch. I'm sad I missed the ending of it. Got to give Sawyer Robertson credit. He's a pop for me when I was watching it. So was TJ Harden for SMU, their running back. Bryson Washington was very inefficient in this game when I watched, and he was somebody that I think could be a surprise draft prospect, but he didn't really stand out in my opinion. Romello Brinson had some big plays. So did Jalen Cooper. Josh Cameron for Baylor is a pop. Ashton Hawkins actually was pretty good. He had 10 for 145. Got to give him a lot of credit for that. Obi Prentice had 2 touchdowns in this game for him. This was one of my many games I was watching before I went to the Gator game. Nukobia, I don't know exactly how to say that game. He popped. He had a ton of tackles. He was all over the field. I really liked him when I watched film in the offseason. He was somebody I was interested in. So was Jeffrey Maba. He seemed to make some good plays in this. Keaton Thomas had 11 tackles for Baylor. Got to give that a pop based on, the numbers alone. That was a fun game, though. I'm excited. Sawyer Robertson's a big pop from that game. Kevin Jennings, fun college quarterback. I still don't see an NFL quarterback in him, if I'm just being honest with you. And then Baylor's receivers went off in this game. So they definitely, two of them popped. And I know, like I said, Cameron was one, and I forget the other one. Hawkins. I think Ashton Hawkins is the other one that popped. They're both pops from that game, in my opinion. Texas A&M took care of Utah State, 44-22. Marcel Reed looked comfortable. He played a pretty good game. Nothing to complain about there. Le'Veon Moss was good out of the backfield. Good to see him healthy. Can't take a whole lot away from that game. I did not get to watch Ole Miss, Mississippi, or Ole Miss and Kentucky yet. Very interested in watching the game film of this one. Austin Simmons, again, looked like he actually struggled in this game. He's an impressive young quarterback. Looks like Lacey out of the backfield was good, but I'm not going to say anybody popped because that was going on during the Gator game. And I'll admit, Clemson kind of got my eye during the commercial breaks because it looked like they might get upset. So I didn't get a ton of eyes on this game, and I'm excited to watch all 22. Alabama blew out UL Monroe. Tennessee blew out East. There's nothing to learn here. Tennessee's offense still looks good. Aguilar looks good. Simpson bounced back. He went, I think, 17-17 in this game. Deserves a ton of credit. Bernard, again, man. I know that they didn't have Ryan Williams this week, and he didn't get a ton of receptions, but after last week and this week with 3, he had like 3 catches, I think it was, and 2 touchdowns. He popped. He's going to get credit that he deserves. Indiana took care of Kennesaw State. Texas Tech, my Big 12 winner, dominated Kent State. And Utah, man, they blew out Cal Poly. Evan Dampierre is going to be a fun quarterback to watch for these guys. And I'm really excited to see how their season goes. We'll finish off this by mentioning that Bill Belichick got his first victory at UNC. I'll admit I'm a Patriots fan. You can see sorry if you heard that, but you can see the tin behind me here. I find myself almost rooting against him with the way he's acting, and I think he's not acting in the best interest of his players, which is why I'm rooting against him. It's not personal that he doesn't allow the Patriots staff in there. Like, that bugs me, but they don't have a ton of NFL talent anyway right now. What bugs me is he's taking eyes and taking one team out of the equation for his players. And I think if I had a son that was a prospect, that would matter to me. I would not want him to go to UNC. I mean, I don't care. I I don't care that he's the greatest coach of all time. If he's going to limit who has access to you, and he's limiting scouts access across the board with teams, and that's not the way you operate in college. It's not the NFL where you're running this tight, no leak ship. In college, you need to allow people in. That's how your prospects get hype and everybody like sure game film's good, but they want to get to know the person. They want to see them move in real time. They want to see them play. Like they want to meet them. They want to know the person. They need the background info. They want to get how the coaches truly feel about him. And I don't think he's doing this program justice with the way he's acting right now. And you can say, "Oh, well, he's the greatest head coach of all time." What do you know? Well, he ain't crap in college, man. And I recorded that twice because the first time I said what I was really thinking. He ain't nothing in college. He got his ass kicked last week by TCU, and this week they played an overmatched program that he barely beat. His college credentials are not good, and I don't like the way he's handling the program, and I just think that's a fact. I don't think he's doing the best. He's not doing justice to his players. He's not serving his players well, and I don't know. I find myself rooting against him a little bit. And it's not, like I said, just because I'm a Patriots fan, because I was rooting for him heading into last week. Really excited to watch UNC this year. And then, like, yeah, and some of it is because I'm a Patriots fan. It's a little salty, but it's also, you're just acting like a child. And I don't like that, man. He's a grown man. He shouldn't be acting like that. Grow up, you know, get out of your feelings. But that's it, man. That's it for this week. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll be back. We're going to preview week 3 of college football. We're going to talk NFL after this weekend. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out.